Like I can already feel like you guys are gonna like do cool stuff.
Into the motive.
Just being good to one another.
Yeah.
You guys are doing a good thing here.
The people at the top collaborate, and the
Yeah.
people that are at the bottom compete.
Yeah, it resulted in me shooting him.
I was charged with 109 and a 50.
Ultimately, you'll get to where you want to go if you push yourself enough.
I genuinely love this conversation.
I love the Motive Podcast.
Welcome back to the Motive Podcast. I'm your host, Leo Kosach. Alongside me is my co-host, Kyle Cohen. Kyle, hope you had a good Christmas. I mean, everyone here. And joining us today, by the way, Happy New Year. Happy 2025. We are here. We're filming this in 24, but Happy New Year. But joining us today for the first guest of the new year, guys, welcome Carly Simmons. Thank you for being here, Carly.
Hi.
Singer, songwriter, all of it. Carly, we met at Milk Boy with Chris, and yeah, you're doing your thing. So we're excited. We're excited to get into it here.
Yeah.
But Kyle, 2025 New Year's resolutions, anything?
Not really. I'm not
Oh, come on.
nothing specific. I'm not gonna lie.
Nothing.
What about you?
I don't know. I really want to run a marathon
Okay.
in 2025 because I just did the half marathon, and I'm just like, I got to go for it. So, Carly, how about you? Any New Year's resolutions?
I mean, I feel
continue
like
to grow.
exactly. For an artist, I feel like the cliche is like, I want to sign a record deal, or I want to go on a tour, or I want to have like a song go viral or hit the radio, something. Maybe I should be more specific and write these things down.
What do you think about we'll just get into this right now. Like, what do you think about like the whole TikTok, Instagram, social media era of like music, where it's like, all right, your song gets used in like a 20-second bit, and then it's like that's what you're known for. That's like how you get your start. Like, what do you think of that? This like new era.
I find it depressing and discouraging. Like, I hate TikTok. I hope the rumors are true. I hope it is destroyed, ended.
Me too.
I hope it's over this month or something. I heard maybe
I don't know.
Soon.
Maybe,
soon.
like-
It's
I don't know if
it's-
it's something to do with Trump coming in office. Or...
Yeah, I don't
like
know.
maybe.
Who knows?
I don't know.
I don't know. He'd be doing stuff out there, so we'll see. But yeah, TikTok sucks because there is obviously talented people on that platform, no doubt. But it just, I mean, music is so oversaturated as it is. And it's amazing for some ways because you can just be, an aspiring young artist in your parents' basement and put things out on Spotify. And if it's good, maybe it'll catch on and someone will see it. And that's exciting. But then on the other hand, it's hard for artists to make it. I think it's harder than it used to be. I don't know. It's just oversaturated.
Yeah.
And I think TikTok and Instagram, they play a big role in that oversaturation. And then also making like stupid people famous and people that are, maybe not really working so hard on it, but they just love the attention, but they don't know how to sell tickets or put on a show or write a song.
Yeah. Well, and it's also like it's different for the listener too, because it's like you're not listening through like we were talking about this. We've talked about this with a couple people, but it's like you don't. How many kids like our age or like anyone has listened through like an album from start to finish? It's like the album like tells a story, but it's like it's only singles. Like it's like a song, and that's how you hear it, and then you can just click skip on your Spotify. There's the next song. So it's like the art of listening through like something like an album or something like that. It's like that's lost as well.
It's totally lost. I feel
Attention
like,
span getting shorter and shorter. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
That too.
oh my God, the attention span thing is horrible. Mine
Well,
is already so short and it's just getting worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Insta like reels. It's like it's like.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I just saw someone die. Nice music. It's like
Yeah.
it's like everything.
It's dramatic.
bad.
Yeah. It's so funny that you mentioned that because I saw something. Oh, I am so sorry. I saw something that said the way that Instagram and all these social media platforms were designed is to kind of mimic like slot machines and like gambling. Like it is designed to be as addicting as that. You just keep scrolling and like, but whereas when you're in a casino and the betting is over or you lost or whatever, it's done. But then with Instagram, you just keep scrolling endlessly.
Yeah.
And when Instagram first came out, it used to be that once you saw everybody's post, it was like done. I don't know. This is probably like before you guys were on social media, but it used to just be done.
It was
And
like
now
it's well, I remember at the top, like, and this was before Reels. It was just posts, like you're saying, like it would say like, I don't know if this is what you're talking about. I think I remember it was like a check mark. It's like you've seen everything you followed, or so. I don't know.
it was basically like that. It would be like, yeah, you saw everything, you're updated, but now it'll just show you random people in your discovery and like ads and everything else. So it just is endless.
Yeah.
The amount of people that will tell us like they can't listen to a full podcast episode is crazy. Like that's probably even worse with podcasting.
Yeah.
Remember the other day, like that backhanded comment you got? Do you know what I'm referencing?
I'm trying to.
It was like, dude. I think it was literally on one of the things.
Wait, who was it?
One
Oh,
of Chris's things.
no. It was someone at it was at SAE with Chris. This kid comes up to me. He's like, "Oh, I listened through 8 minutes of your episode and I had to stop." I'm like, "Yeah, thanks, appreciate that." It was like funny. It was
Oh my
funny.
God.
It was like it was so funny. But no, yeah, it's the attention span thing is crazy. And like I've been off TikTok for like, so I downloaded TikTok. I mean, I was off TikTok for a few years because of like. This is like before Instagram had Reels, and because TikTok was like that. And then I downloaded TikTok like a year ago to literally, and I've done like really good with this. I go in there, post motive clips, and then I'm not on there at all. So that's all I do on TikTok. But Reels is the same. I'm bad on Reels.
Yeah.
Like Instagram's
You
bad.
just keep scrolling.
The rabbit hole is real.
Yeah, it's
And
wild.
I think you're right though. I think it's something with like even like colors and stuff like that. It's even down to those
well,
details.
it's like
just to get like that constant dopamine hits that
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
always
constant.
stimulated. You're just craving.
Well,
it.
and they're aiming to show you the things that you are most interested in. So
Right.
why would you
Yeah.
stop looking? Because you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm interested in this, and
Right.
it just keeps going.
Yeah, and it's like a
Exactly.
science. It's like we post, like, when we post our clips, it's like you do the captions, and it's like, oh, we want to do it blue, and then it's like even with like music marketing, it's like you want to try a bunch of stuff out with like how long and do your hooks, like stuff like that. It's like there's so much you can do in the marketing space, but hey, whatever. We're growing in the time. We're
It's
growing.
hard and it's cringe. Like I found myself really struggling with social media and made it a goal. Actually, last year was one of my New Year's resolutions was to get better at social media, but it's hard. It's cringy sometimes to like promote yourself that way and like do kind of gimmicky, weird, trending things. Then you just kind of feel like an idiot after.
yeah, and yeah, it's wild. All right, let's get into more of your story before we continue with the new age stuff. So, where did you grow up? You grew up in Delaware?
Yeah, I'm from like Wilmington, Hockessin,
Okay.
Delaware.
Okay. How was your early life growing up? What was like school like and all that good stuff?
I went to a Catholic school called St. Catherine's. It doesn't exist anymore, sadly, but I had like 28 people or something in my class. So I was a little sheltered Catholic guilt girl and was very afraid of like hell and doing anything wrong. But yeah, and my parents divorced when I was like 4, so I kind of had this like, back and forth thing at a Catholic school. I was like one of 2 kids with divorced parents, so it was very like I'm a weirdo, like I'm the odd one out, and I would show up to school with like my little what's it called, overnight like roller bag, and people were like, why are you bringing a suitcase to school? I'm like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, other things that are interesting. My dad had a pizza shop that I like would basically work at when I was a kid, and I would answer the phones, and people are probably like, what is this pipsqueak doing on the line? So I would help. I would like fold boxes in the back, take orders, and like do the cash register and stuff. And
Is it still in business?
it technically is. My dad had it for 30 years, but then he sold it to someone like
There
a
you
couple
go.
Christmases ago. But it's still there. It's still the same. It's called Pizza Pro. And it's in Wilmington. Yeah, go check it out by Price's Corner. Sponsored.
There you go.
Yeah. I just lost my train of thought.
Pizza shop, kid growing up, worked there. Anything else?
Yeah, I mean,
nothing much?
that's where my pizza addiction developed.
So you didn't like get tired of the pizza. Like it wasn't like, oh, I work in it, I grew up around it, I can't eat pizza. It was like the opposite.
No. If anything, like my love for pizza continued to grow,
Okay.
and I became like very judgmental of other pizza places.
Do you have a
And,
favorite spot like of all time, like Philly, New York?
I mean, growing up, I know it sounds biased, but I felt like my dad did make like the best pizza ever. There's a place near me called Lamia. I think that is really good, and I mean, Carlino's has like one of the best tomato pies.
Yeah. It's like a party staple around here. Like anytime there's like a neighborhood party, everyone's getting that big Carlino's pie.
And like New York pizza's so, I mean, obviously so good. You can get like a massive slice. And there's a place called Joe's Pizza that is
I've been
there.
there.
And then when I lived in LA, they had a Joe's chain there too. And LA pizza, in my opinion, like sucked. Like I could never find good pizza. And then I realized there was Joe's there. And it was like, you know, kind of the only thing that would hit the spot, but
I feel
it
like I
wasn't the
ate at
same.
a Joe's in like Santa Monica.
Yes.
Is that
There's
it?
one on.
Okay,
Yes,
I think
that
I
was.
had that. I think I was there.
Yeah, definitely.
good. It
Like
was
near
like-
the
it was
water
pretty
ish,
good.
like by the promenade.
It's like kind of near the pier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, then I was there. Yeah.
Yeah. That was like one of the only pizza places I went to in LA.
Yeah, I thought it was good, and it was like one of the only ones I had. But yeah, pizza's. I'm trying to think. Do you know? This is a chef. Have you tried Pizza Westchester? Like Pizza Westchester. Have you heard the deal with that?
Yes. Wait.
Have you had it?
I didn't have it.
Oh,
I
yes.
know.
Bro, and
I don't even know if I've had it.
this is the time you got to stop.
Isn't it just a window and it says like pizza?
Yeah, it just says pizza. You get like this is the time. I should direct you to go there because guess what? They I don't know if you've heard their deal, but like once they're out of dough and their ingredients, they're done for the day, and they have like a really
Oh, that's like
limited amount.
Ravanisi's. Have you been there?
That was the second place I was gonna mention.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
Ravanisi's is really good. I almost forgot.
Ravanisi, and I was gonna get him on the pod because I talked with him for like half an hour
You
in that
should.
place.
He's so like
I gotta, like, follow up
friendly.
with
I don't know anything about him, but he's always happy.
He did music. He was like opening for like Aldine,
Oh.
like in like stadiums. I talked with this dude. That's what he said. He
Oh my
he was
God.
signed with like Sony. This dude is fascinating. Now we gotta
You know
connect
what?
you guys.
Now this sounds familiar. I think I did hear this.
And then he like went to culinary school. Like he was telling me his full story. He does like jujitsu. Like I gotta get this guy
Wait,
on the podcast.
what is the connection here with artists working at pizza shops? Because actually, when I first got into music, it was because there was a kid that worked at my dad's pizza shop. I was like 16, he was like 20. And my dad found out that he had like a studio in his parents' basement. And so he was like, oh, my daughter likes to sing. You should have her over. And then I started like, that's the first time I ever started like writing music with this guy and like recording it. And I did like a Taylor Swift cover of like Picture to Burn, which is on YouTube somewhere when it's really embarrassing.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like
I'll put the clip in.
always am hearing about people working at pizza shops and they're also like artists of some sort.
There's a science behind
Pizza
that.
and art.
Something
Goes
with
hand in hand.
sauce. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right?
But Pizza Westchester, so they have really unique hours, and like they'll be open like 11 to 4, and it's like once they sell out. So it's like you got to go at like 3 on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Darn. Should have had you
Those are the
stop. No,
best because you know it's fresh. You know what another place that does that is? It's called Antonia's or Antonio's, and it's in Kennett Square.
Okay.
And they're kind of new, and they do they only have it until they're out, and you have to reserve your dough like before you order it.
Interesting. Yeah, Ravanisi is the bomb.
It is
It's
really
like so unique. Like reserve your dough. Oh my god. But no. So all right, high school.
high school.
How were like your high school years? Like where were you at? Where were you thinking? Like music wise, non-music wise, everything. You said you did track and field.
Yes, I did. I was like a very serious runner, and it was like weird because I actually kind of I hated it a little bit, but I was so competitive, and that's what drove me. Like I was good, so I would like win races. And
What did
stuff.
you run?
Yeah. So you're
Were
on.
you
I
a
ran.
sprinter?
Yeah, I grew up younger as a sprinter in like elementary, middle school. Then in high school, they kind of like moved me into being middle distance and like
Okay.
hurdles.
So, like-
So I did like the half mile, like the 800, and then like the 300-meter hurdles, and relays and stuff. 400 was another one I did. I hated the mile, but I did cross country to stay in shape for track. But I
Yeah.
hated it. But I loved my
Have you
coach
ever
and my
done-
teammates so much.
Have
What?
you ever done like a marathon or anything?
I've never done a marathon. The most I ever ran straight, like in a race, was a 10-mile race. It was at the
Broad
Barrel
sh-
and Cork, like in Dewey Beach.
I'm not familiar.
I think it was called the Bottle and Cork, or I don't know. It was some 10-mile run there.
Okay. Cool.
But and then everyone just drank after and
Yeah.
whatever.
What was the wait? So what high school was it?
So I started at Padua, which was an all-girls Catholic school.
Okay.
And then I ended up transferring over to Tatnall, which is like a small private school in Delaware.
Yeah, I know that school.
Yeah, and their track team is like, I mean, my coach Castano, he just like won this like big award
Really?
at the Armory in New York. They have like a Hall of Fame for coaches, and he just got put
Cool.
in it.
Okay. What was the first school you said?
Padua.
Does that have to anything to do with Salesianum as a sister
Yeah.
school? Okay,
It's the sister school. Yeah.
Okay, my best friend goes there, Salesianum. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So we used to like, after school, we would like basically hike up our little skirts and then walk down to Salesianum, Sally's, we called it,
Yeah.
and like go hang out with the guys and whatever. And we, the runners practiced at Baynard Stadium, like both Sally's and Padua. So
Okay.
even though, because we were an all girls school, so we didn't have boys on the team.
Right.
So we just kind of practiced alongside of them, but not with them, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like very sporty, but this was like happening at the same time that I started working on music in that guy's basement that my dad had working for him at Pizza Pro. So yeah, I was like really into it, but my parents were very much like supportive and never, you know, discouraging about it. But my dad was kind of the type that was just like, oh, you know, all those like singers and actors, they all just become like mental cases basically and drug addicts, and you're not doing that. Like he just like, I never did any kind of classes or, you know, plays or anything like that. I just was never really encouraged in the music world.
I feel like for all the mental cases, I mean, there's a lot of them, but like
It's a lot of drug related, I feel like.
Yeah.
that too. I feel like the thing that really gets you is when you get famous so young.
Yeah.
Like, because like you gotta have that come up, like you gotta have that like
Right, a
grind, you gotta have that
normal
work,
childhood.
and then you can appreciate it when you're big, like to an extent, and like look around and see what you built. But it's like, imagine like the Home Alone dude, Macaulay Culkin,
Yeah.
like he got like a little
He's weird.
'cause
He's
yeah, 'cause
weird. Sorry
like,
if you're
four-
watching this one day.
at 4 years old, it's like whatever, like any child star who just gets thrown into something and then they get like millions of dollars at like
I mean,
6 years
Justin
old.
Bieber self-proclaimed, like he says, like people, you know, he struggles with his mental health and everything, and you know, now he's involved in the church and he's seemingly doing so much better. But I mean, he has said how hard it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's why that like you'll see a lot of them like end up in prison or like random like bad stuff.
Yeah.
Child
Yeah.
stars, they just like it's not a good place to be.
They're
I
not
feel
like grounded maybe, or they
Yeah.
just, or they see things that other kids don't, like they're experiencing things that we don't know about that are shady.
exposed to like too much adult things almost at a too young
Right,
an age. Like,
right.
let them grow up normally. or
Well, it's funny because
usually.
then my parents, like my dad finally, like when I was in college and I was like, I hate what I'm studying and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like basically failing out of school. Like, what am I doing with my life? He was like, I thought you loved music. Like, why don't you pursue that? I'm like, oh, now you want me to pursue it when I'm like in my 20s? Like, and I guess he's like, well, yeah, because you're normal now and you have, you know, a grounded life. So I'm not worried about you anymore.
Yeah.
You're normal now. That's great.
What would you say like music were you listening to as like a kid? Like what was on the radio? Like what were you listening to in like high school? Like where was the like inspiration at as like a younger kid?
Wait, what
So
year did you
many
graduate?
things.
Can I ask that first?
Oh
just so
my
I-
God, you're going to do that to me?
Come
Graduate
on.
I
high
gotta know
school?
the yeah. I gotta
grew-
know the era of music you grew up. in.
2010.
Okay.
Are you act surprised?
Wow. Whoa. Yeah. I thought it was like 2016.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
good.
I actually
good.
would have. Yeah, definitely guessed a little.
Okay, good.
Okay, as we were saying,
The music of,
inspiration.
around that time, yeah.
Let me guess. Actually, no, because like
No guess. I want to. I mean, do you
well,
know that
at-
kind of?
I was gonna say like, were you influenced by like early Taylor Swift at that time, or like
Yeah,
Or-
actually,
okay.
100%. And like, no one come after me, but like, I'm not as much of a fan anymore. But her first album, or like Fearless, that album,
I like the album. I don't like Taylor
know
Swift.
every word to like every song. That's all I listened to, like
Like-
exclusively on the way to school.
You mentioned Picture Burn, like that's like a good song. I like that song. That's in my
It's such
playlist.
a good song. I still cover that at my shows. It's like everyone always knows the words and sings it along, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, Taylor Swift was a big one.
I
think of that
hear
era.
that in your music. Like I feel like your
You do?
I hear that like the voice.
I love
do.
that.
We were talking about that before you
Yeah,
got here. Actually, 'cause-
we were talking about.
yeah, I was like listening through some songs like. And
He was
stuff,
playing I think Harley T-shirt.
Oh, I love it.
And I was like,
Yeah.
there's some Taylor
That
Swift.
is
And I
very.
hear
It's
that.
it's like pop country. Like she was doing pop country, and now she's doing like pop, like general. I don't know, pop, like a lot of synth and kind of like
Yeah.
I feel like genres are weird. I don't know.
genres are so blended
every-
now.
Yeah.
Everyone like evolves. Like there's kind of like a meme. Like every artist starts as like an indie artist, and
Yeah.
then it's like just like Coldplay. It's like their first
Yeah.
album is so different. Like because I'm a huge Coldplay fan, but it's like they evolve. Like you evolve. Like if you're like a 18-year-old, like 19-year-old, like little depressed kid starting music and like singing about your troubles, then you make millions of dollars. Your music is just gonna naturally change if you're writing authentically about your life. You know what I mean?
100%.
I feel like. Let me know how you think about this. I feel like your vibe is like kind of like Lainey Wilson, like on your
love her
on your
music.
Insta.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think like I relate your music more to like early Taylor Swift, but I feel like the vibe is more like country Lainey Wilson.
I love that.
I'm
That's
just saying.
a huge compliment. Thank you. Yeah, Lainey's crushing it right now too. I mean, her voice is amazing. And speaking of Coldplay, not to go back to this, but I was just having this conversation with my husband like yesterday. We were listening to Coldplay in the car, and he said, like, who's your favorite female and male vocalist? And I was like, honestly, pretty quickly, I was like, Beyonce and Tyler Childers. And like, I've listened to all kinds of genres. Like, I'm not like, because I'm a country artist, that doesn't mean I solely listen to country. And then he asked me, he's like, well, what about, I mean, we're listening to Coldplay. Like, wouldn't you consider that he has, like, Chris Martin has like one of the best voices ever? And I was like, 1,000,000%. He has such a smooth, like,
It's unique.
perfectly textured, like, I don't know. I think he's so like soothing to listen to. And don't come at me, but he's like, I've never been as huge of a fan, I feel like, as like a lot of other people my age who are very obsessed. And it's not because I don't think he's amazingly talented and enjoy listening to his music, but I think I gravitate more towards like upbeat or like soulful, like kind of more like grittier vocals. Like I like soulful vocalists.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I found Coldplay at like a low point in my life. So it's like Coldplay's just like attached.
Oh,
And it's
so
like,
therapeutic to listen to.
But it's funny you say like about his voice, because so my mom is like a vocalist. She was like an actress in Philly for a while, like during her younger years. And like we were in the car and I had Coldplay on, and she like just the other day, and she was like, you can tell like he's like untrained. And I was like, because all the
I'm
theater,
untrained.
yeah, all the theater people like. And if you want to go to Berkeley, like I have a friend that goes to Berkeley. She's a musician in Jersey, killing it. It's like, yeah, like there's a difference between musical training and being a rock star, 100%. So my mom's like, you can just tell like he's untrained. I'm like, I guess, sure.
I think that there is, I mean, obviously if you're trying to be like in the theater and acting, like you should be trained, like you need to be sounding like that. But I think that there is a benefit in being untrained as an artist, because then you find your own unique sound.
Yeah.
And like, I think that a lot of times people who make it or like who stand out the most, it's because there's something different about the way that they sound or the way that they sing. And you can't learn that. If you're learning what everyone else is learning, then aren't you going to be kind of like everyone else, or in a way?
Yeah.
But that being said, my advice to any vocalists out there would be to at least get vocal lessons and warm up properly, because you don't want to like mess your voice up.
The one of our friends, like who I've played with a lot, like both of his parents are like musicians and one's a vocal coach, and it's like I make fun of him because like he's like so like he's like so like OCD about like just like downing the honey like he's like, I'm like, dude, can we just sing? He's like, I gotta take an 8.3 second break. It's like, come on, like let's just. But it's like because like some people, especially with his mom being a vocal coach, like he's so like on a schedule with how he has to sing and everything. It's just funny.
I do have my pre-show little elixir of, I like to do a little hot toddy, where I do like a throat coat tea, but then maybe I put a tiny, and no vocal coach is ever going to tell you to do this, but maybe I put a little bit of Jack Daniels in there or something.
Yeah.
Maker's Mark, I don't know, something like that. But then I put a ton of honey, and you're also not really supposed to do citrus or lemony things, but I put a little bit of lemon in there because I kind of like my voice to be like more raspy if it can be.
Right. Yeah. That makes
But the
sense.
honey is real. The honey thing is real.
I didn't realize it affected that much your voice. Like
It like
what do you
coats
prepare?
it.
Okay.
Well, so anything acidic will kind of mess with your vocals, and that's
Make it raspy, kind of like
Yeah.
lemony.
well, same
orange.
with like, say you go out the night before and you get like hammered and your voice is kind of raspy.
Yeah.
But if you warm up, it might sound kind of cool, as long as you're not like losing your voice entirely.
Oh yeah.
But you don't want to you don't want to get in that habit and try and go on a tour where you're like getting drunk every night, because then you're gonna be really tired and miserable.
I did like a big like cover concert in my backyard. We had like all the neighbors, all our friends over. Kyle was there like 2 years ago, and our main vocalist, we had the trained guy who's my buddy, and then my other friend, he is the complete opposite. He's like a total like Nirvana, Alice in
Love
Chains,
Nirvana.
like just in his voice I love. Like it's super
He has a
unique.
really
He's
good
got a
voice.
rasp.
Yeah.
He's our age. But like the two vocalists who were both sitting with us that night were like completely different sides of the spectrum, which is just funny. And the one trained kid's voice was like he was losing his voice throughout the whole day. And then we got to like our break, and then we did like our second half of the set, and like it was just going. Like we were like cutting songs off our list, like, oh, we can't do that one, we can't do that one. And then like of course we did like an encore. We're like, oh, what do we want to pull out? Because like we cut "Don't Stop Believing."
Yeah, and you want to
it's,
do
like, a
your
super high
biggest
note.
songs at the
Yeah,
end, and then
yeah.
the vocalist is like, I can't.
Yeah. And then so like I'm like, yo, we gotta like do "Don't Stop Believing" for an encore, but we gotta like transpose it down a key or two. So we just had to do it like down a key or two. And like his dad, like I played the first chord like at "Don't Stop Believing." I could just see like the anger in his dad's face. He was like because like
Oh,
they're like,
no.
we cannot have this kid lose his voice. It's funny, but
Yeah, it's a real
it's
thing.
wild stuff. All right, so college. You said you got full ride from Delaware and went to Delaware.
Yeah, for track and field. And God bless my coaches, because I was clearly just like not interested in it. Like I said, like I had a love-hate with it. And the reason I stayed is because I really genuinely loved my coach and teammates so much in high school. But I went into college kind of directionless, like I said. And at that point I had like joined a sorority, and then I joined an a cappella group. I was soul searching, obviously. And I was part of the Golden Blues at University of Delaware. And, you know, I think like the first little concert we did, like I didn't even have a solo, because you're like not allowed to have a solo the first like semester or year or something like that. And I was like older than some of the other people on the team, on the group, because I joined late. But I was like, this is bull. Like, oh, sorry. I was like, this is bull. I should do a solo, whatever. I thought I was hot. And I was just like up there doing like you know, like weird background stuff. And for some reason, even just doing that, I was up there and I was like, this is what I was made to do. I was born to do this. And that kind of led into me deciding to drop out. And, you know, I quit the track team. And eventually it just all kind of snowballed, and then I dropped out of school and moved to LA.
I've heard like stories kind of like that, where it's like, especially I feel like it's like a thing with like girls. I don't know why. I like with like woman athletes. Like I don't. I've heard like stories of like older siblings and like people who I've talked with of like they go to school for sports and they just get like, it's just tiring. It's like it's
tiring.
just exhausting.
The adrenaline, like the pressure. Honestly, I'm an
Yeah.
anxious girl. I'm an
Yeah.
anxious girly, and the pressure of all of it, and like feeling like I just like had to like win or like be the best, when I realized like I don't actually have a love for this. And like there were people on my high school team that went on to be incredibly successful with like running, and because they loved it. Like that was the difference between us. I was like, this just isn't my passion, and it's music. And it took me way too long to focus on that, but I'm happy I did. Like I could have, you know, been 50 years old and been like, oh, I wish I had tried out that singing thing.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So you said, so you dropped out of school and moved to LA for music, just decided to go all in. So like, where was the mind at, and where were you just like, gotta do it?
So my parents were like very supportive, but they were like, yeah, why don't you take a year off or whatever and figure it out. But this is on you. Like if you want to move to LA, you know, you have to save up and do it yourself. So I was like, okay. And I got a waitressing gig at BBC Tavern, which is like in Greenville, Delaware. Saved up like $5,000 and moved to LA with just knowing like like barely a handful of people. One of them being the guy actually that worked for my dad, who ironically, like we had randomly been in touch, I guess. So I'll get real with you. Like when he was working for my dad and I was like a teenager, like I had a really big crush on him. And then my dad like read my text messages or something and like found out and was like, you are not going over there to record music anymore. And I was like, I hate you. Like, I'm never coming back to your house. I'm staying with mom. Like, whatever. I was so heartbroken because I thought I was in love. And also with the music thing, I was like, so you can't take this away from me. But then years later, after my dad threatened to break all his fingers if I ever spoke to him again or he spoke to me again, we like got back in touch. And he was like, you should move out to LA. And then we like saw each other. And then he was like, yeah, you know, we should date and whatever. And then I was like, okay. And he totally like led me on. And then I moved to LA after he was like, I'm in love with you. I can't wait for you to be here. And then when I got there, he was kind of like quiet for a week. I was like, ghosted me, I guess. And I was like, what's going on? He's like, oh, actually, I have a girlfriend. And I was like, cool. So like the one person that I really knew who I had a plan of recording music with here on the other side of the country just totally betrayed me. And so I really started from scratch and just like made friends, like just started going out, made friends. That's when I met my friend, Michael Gazzo and Jared Lucas, who they were Gazzo and Cap Slap. I'm not sure if you know who Cap Slap is, but he used to do all these like spring break like playlists like and remixes. Like he was really big on like SoundCloud and everything. And but I kind of weirdly was like in the techno like dance scene for a while doing like top lines and stuff. And then I recorded a song and Tiesto started playing it out at festivals. And I was like, wow, I've only been here for a couple months and then like my big break is here. And then literally like after that, nothing like came of it.
So it was just a cover of Kids, you said?
Yeah, we did Kids by MGMT and we kind of made like a dance, like trance track to it.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
cool. I like that song.
Yeah.
And other than that, I was just doing like just covers on my SoundCloud page with, speaking of like artists that I was really listening to and loved, I was obsessed with like Lana Del Rey. I just thought like lyrically and sonically, like her voice is just so like emotional and her lyrics are so specific and interesting.
I gotta get into her because like I have like a couple like older friends who like just bump Lana Del Rey.
Yes.
Like they're like not, I don't know, it doesn't like fit their vibe, but they do it all the time. They'll always like be posting like out of the club and then they post like Lana Del Rey. It's like always Lana Del Rey. I was like,
know.
what's up? I'm missing out.
She kind of has this like hypnotizing or something voice. I don't know how to explain it, but she's amazing. I did like a cover of her Blue Jeans song, which was kind of her like original thing that went big and like what her, I guess, first song was. And I did a Nirvana cover because Nirvana was another one of my favorite artists growing up. Like I really liked kind of like classic rock, Motown, country, like pop. When I was a kid, I loved Shania Twain. Was obsessed with Shania Twain, Tim McGraw, George Strait, the Dixie Chicks. I loved the Dixie Chicks so much.
Do you know the Castellos?
Yes.
Yeah, they're great. I mean,
It's like
they're
three
like
sisters,
Instagram.
right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
like, really
they have really beautiful harmonies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What Nirvana cover did he do? Should we take guesses? Is it like a
Sure.
popular song? Is it like?
Yeah.
I feel like it's definitely like About a Girl or like Polly or
Love both of those.
or I don't want to say like I'm not like is it like a popular Nirvana song? I don't know Nirvana that much. Like Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yeah, so it
Heart-Shaped
Smells Like
Box.
Teen
All right,
Spirit.
I wasn't gonna go with the number one
The number
first,
one,
but
yeah.
But honestly, there were a couple songs I would have just kept going with that, but then I was like, okay, I need to like find myself and stop doing like covers and dance music because dance music it was fun, but it wasn't my passion. And then doing covers was fun, but it wasn't my passion. So then I ended up
it's
meeting.
like
Yeah,
if you want to do music, the DJ thing. There's mixed thoughts.
I
on
know.
That. So maybe it's like
but like when I first got to LA, that was huge.
like John Summit right now. He's popping off.
I don't know who that is.
Really? He's like
It's not. I guess not.
Well,
popping
again,
off enough.
I don't listen to it like at all anymore. Really.
yeah, it's just like the DJ. It's like I'm gonna go pay to like
I like
watch
saw
someone
Avicii like 4 or 5 times.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, where do you see him at?
R.I.P.
Like here?
Washington, in DC, I think New York, Philly.
I know he was at Penn State in like 2014. That was like legendary.
Yeah, so 2014, like the end of 2014 or very beginning of 2015 is when I got to LA. So it was still very much like I have some unreleased dance track songs that are hilarious. Like I should like let you like do a clip of at some point.
Funny music video.
Yeah. But then I was like, yeah, it's time to find like my voice and who I am. And I felt like I had this writing session with this guy, Josiah Rosen, and he was an original founding member of Augustana. And they do that song like, I think I'll go to Boston. I think I'll start a new
Sounds familiar.
life. Anyway, so he like co-wrote that song and ended up dropping out of the band and then, was at UMG, whatever. And then I did a writing session with him and we wrote a song called Whiskey Kisses, which I have out. And it felt very like, I felt like I wanted to do country because I love the storytelling and like I loved country growing up. I feel like I kind of like live like a more of a country lifestyle, and lyrically it's more storytelling. And sonically it's kind of like, has that mix of soul, which is what I really loved growing up. Like Aretha Franklin, Mary J. Blige, Beyonce, which, she's soul and pop, whatever. Etta James, like I loved that kind of stuff. I felt like country was the perfect lane for me because I don't know, it just felt most authentic. And we wrote that song and I was like, from that point on, that's when I really landed in country and was like, this is what I want to do and be.
Yeah. And that's like, I feel like, and country's kind of become like super mainstream.
I know.
I mean, obviously.
And this was before that.
Yeah. Before, and like, even then, like, it was getting there.
was
Like,
on
you were
the
getting to like that,
rise.
like, Florida, Georgia line
Yes.
era, like that type of thing.
Yes.
But,
that was like when Morgan Wallen first like came on the scene because he did
It's
a
like
song
opening.
with Florida. Yeah, he was like
Yeah,
opening
Up-
with Florida,
Up,
Georgia.
Down.
Up Down
Yeah,
was I was
yeah.
obsessed. Like, I mean, Morgan Wallen is incredible. That would be like a dream like collaboration for me.
I remember Chris is like,
Did Chris on him? Sorry.
no. But he's talking about, he's like, we got to do like the Morgan Wallen walk up because I don't know.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
if
he
you
said
remember
that.
at Milk Boy with like the security.
And then he
We all-
did.
we
You
were
did.
all
You guys
laughing
did
at
it.
Yeah, but he's like, we're gonna have like we're gonna get like Bam Margera from Westchester to walk out. It's gonna be fun. But
Yeah, it's
no,
not
the
gonna look
Morgan
that cool though, because I feel like he's looking rough nowadays. I
no, we
shouldn't
were
be
talking
saying
about
that.
that.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Bam.
we hope you're doing well, buddy.
We hope
All
you're
right.
doing well. And honestly, Jackass is one of my favorite.
Well, you were just
franchises
telling
of
me
all
about
time.
that off before
Yeah,
she got
just
here,
watching some-
right?
Yeah.
You just watched them.
My husband and I rewatched all the Jackasses like during the pandemic. I mean, we did Austin Powers and like Jackass.
You know what I still haven't watched, and I was about to watch last night, and then I ended up watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I need to watch Talladega Nights. Still haven't seen it.
So
You haven't
good.
seen it?
Shake and
No.
Bake.
Dude,
Yeah, I
come on,
got
check
to.
it back.
I'm like
Wait, you've never seen it?
No.
Yeah, that's
Oh my
crazy.
god, you know what's funny? Actually, the wife in that movie, her name is Carly, and she's like the hot girl.
Really?
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Though my pop was like, we were watching Elf. Like, speaking of Will Ferrell, he was like dying. It was like the first time he's ever
Oh,
seen it over
That's funny
Christmas.
because I was
He
watching
dying.
Anchorman over Christmas. Yeah.
Oh.
Have you ever seen Anchorman? Anchorman's hilarious.
Has anyone seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Have you seen it?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
So I'm not like a movie guy at all, but like I've just been wanting to see it. Like Quentin Tarantino, it's like I gotta watch it. And I stayed up last night, and I was like, I really shouldn't be staying up this late, but I was like, whatever. I was like, and then I just got like hooked in it. It was like very interesting.
It
I
was
liked
so
it.
good. I watched that when I still lived in LA. I remember going to the movies with like some of my friends, and we were all like kind of pursuing our own things, whether it was like music or acting or whatever. And yeah, that was, I mean, yeah. It
I don't know
was
if
amazing.
I don't know if I quite like understand. Like I watched it last night, but like I'm still trying to like process. Like I don't know if there was like that much of like a plot. Like it just seemed like it
I
was
have
like
to like watch it again
I
because
was
it's been a couple
entertained the
years.
whole time.
When it come out, that movie?
2018, I think.
Okay.
That makes sense. I like left LA, I think the end of 2019.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was a good. It was a good. I was entertained the whole time. I'm just still trying to figure out like what I just watched. But anyway, it was good.
I remember like being like loving it, but I couldn't even tell you
It's like
anything about it.
Leonardo
I forget
DiCaprio
everything.
is like aspiring like actors like starting to fall off, and then Brad Pitt is like his stunt double.
Yes.
He's like around. And then Margot Robbie's Sharon Tate with like the Manson murders
Yeah.
and stuff. I don't whatever.
Yeah,
I
there
gotta
was like
figure
so
it
many
out.
different things happening at once.
Yeah.
So you're like, what
Yeah.
is the story?
Yeah,
I
whatever,
get it.
whatever. It was cool. But speaking of LA, well, you were talking off camera like connections, like seeing people in LA, all the celebs, like
Oh yeah.
any good stories. Craziest thing you saw in LA? That's podcast appropriate.
Yeah, podcast appropriate. It's so funny. I used to like do bottle service, and then I did like, you know, I was a cocktail waitress, whatever, bartender, server, and there was this one time that I was working at there's this bar that doesn't exist anymore. It's so depressing. It was called the Rusty Mullet, and it was right on Hollywood Boulevard. And there was like another nightclub right next to it. I can't even remember the name. But my friend Nicole and I think it was with Nicole or Sarah. I don't know. I had some of my best friends in LA. We all worked together at that bar. So during our shift, we heard that Snoop Dogg was like next door. And we were like, it was a really busy night too. And the bartenders kind of had it, and we were just serving. So we were like, they've got this under control. We like snuck out, and we were friends with like the bar manager too. So he like didn't really care what we did. We like went out and then went next door to go see if we could like see Snoop. And then we ended up, because we knew people at that club, we ended up getting like escorted to like the DJ booth, like, cause he was like guest DJing or whatever. And we got to like sit at his table, and then we were like smoking joints with him. Is that podcast appropriate?
Yeah, it's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, weed is legalized in a lot of places.
No,
Right.
yeah, we're
Okay.
good.
Well, anyway, that was like what a fun thing. And I actually get very paranoid with marijuana. I like can't really do it. Like sometimes it's great. Other times I like want to go to the ER because I think I'm having a heart attack. But
I see like all the I see like, speaking of Insta reels, it's like I'll see like the funny like my cousin just called the ER like after having like an edible. Like I just see like funny like stuff.
I've like done that. That's me. Like when I was younger, I couldn't.
I mean, I
handle
can't
anything.
relate. Just FYI, podcast people.
All right.
But,
You're making me look bad.
no. As you're saying, you've
Well, another
you've been in
time,
that-
it makes it sound like I am like a big pothead, and I'm not at all. But I also got into a situation where I was at another club with some friends of mine, and we got to sit at the DJ table again, and it was like Wiz Khalifa that was guest DJing, and I smoked like that time it was like a blunt, and I was like, all right, this is like too much for. I mean, I did it, but
I mean, those are like the two kings, like Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa. It's
I
like those are
know.
literally the top of the tier, like in the world.
oh my god, a story. Something I forgot to mention is so funny. Like, I was working at this place called Chiconi's, and it's like owned by Soho House. It's like in West Hollywood, and I was serving. I had to wear like an embarrassing kind of like vest and like tie and button down, like kind of like a 3-piece suit type situation. And Tyga came in, and he was like with one other person, and he must have ordered everything on the menu. It was like brunch. It was like daytime. This wasn't dinner. Like, and he like ordered all this stuff, and there was this truffle pizza that was $100. And he ordered it. He took one bite of like one slice, whatever. And you could just tell, I mean, he was obviously like really high. So I think his eyes were bigger than his stomach at that point. But when he went to pay, he like handed me like 2 $100 bills, but like one of them was completely ripped in half, like not even taped together or anything, like ripped in half. And I was like so embarrassed. I like went to my station, then I came back, and I was like, I literally have to go up to Tyga right now and say, hey, sorry, we can't accept this. You have to like give me another form of payment. So I like went back, and I was like, I'm sorry, I can't accept your like ripped in half $100 bill.
It's wild. It's crazy.
Yeah, I have like funny.
Was he cool about it?
Yeah, he was like, oh my God, I'm sorry. He gave me another thing. Obviously, it was so respectful, but I just felt like embarrassed about it. It was funny though. Random, just all kinds of random stuff like that. Like I waited on Kate Hudson. She was very lovely. I actually had some mutual friends with Stanley from The Office. His name is Leslie Baker. I ended up being close with him for a while. He was like at my surprise birthday party. We would go to like Memorial Day and like 4th of July barbecues at his house and everything.
No way.
I have like pictures with him.
That's actually crazy.
Yeah.
I
Oh
can't
my God.
imagine this was a real person. 'cause
He's
it's the way he
hysterical.
acts, yeah.
Well, you know what? He is like, he's so cranky like in the show.
Right.
And like, the and he's like rolling his eyes, whatever. Like
Yeah.
he does that in real life, but he's actually like so much more lively and like funny. And he's such a kind, like generous, just like funny, lighthearted person, but he will be like sassy like that.
Okay. That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So eventually, you're doing it in LA. So where, when, why did you decide to leave LA, and when?
Well, I left LA at the end of 2019, and it was like, not that I was like, oh, I want to leave LA, because I had so many like my best friends that I made out there, and like obviously like you can't really beat LA weather. It's just amazing, and being by the beach and everything. Because I lived in Santa Monica like towards the end of when I was living there, and I had this opportunity to sign with a an umbrella label, like, and I was going to be the flagship artist, so like the first artist signed to it. And so I started moving, and because it was going to be in Nashville, and I moved fully. And then when I got there, it turns out that the label ended up like dissolving before it ever even really took off or started. And I was kind of having these, like, feeling these signs, like where my manager would be like, oh yeah, like I'm in touch with him, but he's like sick right now. Like the guy who was starting it, he's just, not feeling well. And I don't know, he's having health issues and And I just had this like pit in my stomach. I was like, oh my God, this is like not going to happen, is it? And I had just, interestingly enough, gotten scouted by American Idol and The Voice in the same week. It was so
Like a
weird.
talent
In the
scout,
same,
one of those people.
like Instagram, they DM'd me,
Okay.
and I went and did like a private audition, like with the producer, like for both The Voice and American Idol. The auditions were back-to-back days, and I got on both shows. Like they both were like, okay, yeah, we want to like sign. And like with American Idol, they had me sit down, they had the contract in front of me and everything, and I was like, I had a friend that was on The Voice, and his name's Johnny Gates. We wrote Harley t-shirt together, actually.
Okay.
So he had already been through it, and I was like, I want to like talk to my friends about this first and like see what they thought about the experience, because it can be really great for some people, but other people can kind of like put you in a box, or they kind of like own you.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing where it's like the gimmicky side of like
And it's
promoting. It's like,
gimmicky.
do you want to be known as like the American Idol winner?
Glorified karaoke singer.
Yeah,
Like, not to
yeah.
be a jerk, but
We had a kid on here who was on America's Got Talent and Idol, and he was like, and he was our age, so like he had to deal with all like the, like while he was out there filming, like he had to deal with all like the child labor stuff and
Oh
like
my
the
God.
school, and he was like, yeah, America's Got Talent like made me like freaking do school in like a dark room for 3 hours. It was like just a bunch of like BS, but yeah, that stuff is like, there's so much of it. And what was that? I know he was on AGT and Idol. There was someone else. Oh, I was gonna mention there's this one guy who I love from Idol, though, Alejandro Aranda. I don't know if it's like one of the most like famous
yeah,
Idol
that sounds a
auditions.
little familiar.
He was like on a few years ago. His song is like so insane. I don't know.
Was
Anyway,
it Morgan Wallen was The Voice, and he was like seventh
Was
place
he?
or something. Yeah, and I didn't know that until later, but I don't know. I actually for American Idol, they asked me to perform. Like I had just posted a snip of like a clip of an original song of mine called Unbroke. I haven't released it yet, so I should probably do that. But I played it at all my shows and everything. But I was doing my audition, and they stopped me in the middle of, like, I was doing like a Miranda Lambert song, and they stopped me in the middle of it, and they were like, you sound amazing, but like, we want to hear that Unbroke song that you posted on your Instagram. And I was like, okay. And then I started singing it, and I ended up declining both shows because the same week is when I got this like label opportunity. And to me, I was like, well, I'd rather sign to a label and have like creative control, and like, I don't know, it just felt like it made more sense, and put out an album of my own original music rather than like go on tour and sing covers with like people, So I was on my way to Nashville. Like my dad was driving me down from Delaware. Like I flew in, moved my stuff, whatever. And they called me and they said, what do we have to do to get you to reconsider? Like, we'll pay for your flights and everything out here and like your accommodations, whatever. But they were like, we really want to use your song Unbroke on the show. And this was kind of like, they are doing a lot of original music on there now, I think. Like you see people doing auditions with original music, and like 2019, I think that was like around the beginning of when they started doing that.
oh yeah, yeah.
But I said no, and then now I'm like, honestly, too old. They have an age cutoff,
Really?
and like it's
Yeah, well,
so young.
I just hate that. It's like the freaking like, I don't know. I don't like the talent shows anymore. I used to like, as like a little like elementary middle
I was
schooler,
obsessed.
I would watch like AGT like with my fam like
Yeah.
every single episode, and now I hate it. Like it's like so like.
It's
The
kinda-
freaking it's all like sob story, parents died, now I'm here, drug addict, and it's like and then it's like you have your like 6-year-old little singer who's like, they think she's good, like she's all right because she's sick, she's the best thing
Right.
ever. It's like, I don't know,
It
it's
does.
not,
It gets gimmicky, especially on like the
I think it's
America's
so
Got Talent.
gimmicky.
Like they'll do like some
Oh,
of the
yeah.
things that you see. I'm like, what am I watching here? There's like fire, and they're jumping through a hoop now, and now they're like rollerblading when they're singing, and like
It's
what's
like-
going on?
and it's like
a
we're-
circus.
Yeah, and it's changed. Like times have changed. Like I feel like 10, 15, 20 years ago that was like, yeah, that's good content, but now it's just like Insta Reels. That's your entertain. Like I don't.
I know.
It's bad. It's bad.
Everything has been rapidly changing in the entertainment industry over this past decade. We've probably seen the most change in entertainment than ever before. It used to
Yeah.
be so much more of a clear path of like what you did to like become an artist. Like you either moved to like LA, New York, Nashville, Philly, whatever, and then you like sent in a tape to like the record labels or like try to get a manager, and then they like accepted you or they didn't. And now it's like you couldn't even try to send like a demo to a recording or like a label. That just like
Yeah.
doesn't happen. You can't.
Yeah, yeah. I
There's,
don't
like,
know, it's
gatekeeping
crazy.
now.
And it's like I don't even want to mention it, but now it's like freaking AI. It's like
That
the AI is
freaks me
gonna
out.
write a song. AI is gonna do this for. It's
I
like
hope we don't just accept
It's like, I don't
AI
know, dude.
creation.
I don't
like
think
that.
it'll fully. I mean, I think people are going to utilize it and maybe like be co-writing, or people who like me who suck at like playing instruments and don't know how to produce or anything. Like if I have a song idea, maybe I could like type it in and then have them. I don't know. I haven't like tried it,
Right.
but I have like done. Someone told me that you can get it to like write a whole song, right? So I like went on the thing and I tried it. It's not good. Like none of these songs would ever be like released or anything. They're very generic, like, oh, what rhymes with cat? It's bat. You know what I mean? Like the lyrics just aren't personal.
Right.
yeah. I mean, I haven't really dove into AI stuff as much as like other people have, but like even so, like we do like a sports show for our school, and like I do like a script for that. Like that's like a scripted show, and it's like instead of me taking an hour or two to like find all the stats, well, it's like I still like write everything out. It's like I tried a couple months ago, like typing it in the chat GPT, like, all right, quarterback has this many yards, does this, we're on this date, the weather's this, write me a script. And it was like pretty cool and it saved me a lot of time.
Dude, you know what that makes me think of? Like I thought about this the other day. When I was in high school, writing a paper was probably the most torturous thing ever. Like I sucked at it. And because I just didn't care. I was not a great student. But don't kids just go on ChatGPT and have them write the whole paper now? Or
Sometimes.
I mean, yeah, a lot of kids.
I mean, how do you like?
or you
how-
can just
why-
like look at it, like get so much ideas. Like maybe like I think I have an idea over this paper.
how would
like,
anyone know if
wanna
you did
get,
it though? Is my
There's
well,
like
if you
there's
if you write it
checkers.
yourself, like if you just use it for ideas, there's no way. Like you can.
Yeah, no,
Basically, it's
you-
basically a free
it's
idea
and
resource.
our like
But you could be like, write me a 500 word or like 1,000 word essay about blah blah blah,
And it would.
Yeah.
it would do your entire homework for you.
Yeah, it does. And like sometimes teachers are like
I'm
on
so
top of
jealous.
that, but now it's like I saw a meme. I wish I had my phone to show you. It was like school before like Chat GPT, AirPods, and it was like this little it was like a picture from like the 1800s of like these kids like black and white in the school classroom. And it was like
Yeah.
Oh
kinda
my
funny.
god, we didn't even have like, I think there were like 3 kids in the class who had like laptops during school that they used when I was in high
Interesting.
school, which was
Calling
not
yourself out,
in
I
the
feel like.
1800s.
I remember the laptop cart. Remember the laptop cart?
Oh my
Kyle?
gosh! In elementary school.
Yeah,
You had
there's
your
that.
sign number or whatever.
You guys
Yeah.
probably didn't even have the projection things like in elementary, middle school. They would roll this thing up, and it would be you would put the sheet on this thing, and it would
Like the document
project
camera?
It.
Like the
Oh,
document
yeah,
camera?
It would
yeah.
project it onto the chalkboard,
Like-
but it
yeah.
was
Like, are you just talking about like a projector on the chalkboard, or are we talking like to see the paper, like a camera type of thing?
a projector on the chalkboard.
So wait, you're saying like it would look at the paper, the thing, and then it would project it on the chalkboard.
Yes.
We've had that. We had that.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
but
probably
like
had a
when
way
we were
more,
in but when we were in like kindergarten, like this is like 2012 for me.
Well, I'm talking about like 3rd grade here, not 2023.
No,
That was
no,
last year.
No. Yeah. No, I got
You're calling him young? Is that what that was? Right there?
No, I thought you
no.
were calling me old.
No,
Maybe
we're not. No, but yeah, the school technology is very interesting to say the least.
It's changed a lot.
I like. What did you have like the TV cart?
Yes.
Was that okay?
Yes,
Okay, yeah,
we
the
did.
TV cart.
You
Like,
probably see memes about it.
No, because all right, so we're like, we were still at the era like when we were really young. We were still like, I feel like we were like in that change. Like we still got a taste of like the old generation of like
Yeah.
school technology, like
For, like,
chalkboard.
for, like, kindergarten.
Yeah, for like
Like,
kindergarten,
yeah, the
first
young-
grade,
young
second
days.
grade. Like I remember like the chalkboards and like the TV cart with a huge blocky TV. It was like,
Oh my God.
but now everything's changed obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, now I know
It's-
you're talking about the TV cart. Okay.
Dude, the most we had like when I was in high school, like obviously there wasn't AI, whatever. But like Spark Notes was pretty much
Yeah.
how I wrote every
People still use that.
like book report or like essay ever
Yeah.
that I did. Like I never read any of the book assignments. I think I read
I don't
like
think I read
one.
Mice and Men, Kyle. I spark notes all of that.
That's
I read
crazy.
like The Giver,
Okay.
and then I read I was just talking about this with someone
Actually
the
a
other
good
day.
book.
There was another book I read that I really liked, and sorry, I have like a really bad memory, but if I think about it, I'll burst out and say
Fourth or
it.
fifth time this episode. No, I'm just kidding.
How was so moving to Nashville? Like, how did you like it? How did you deal with the change? Because like Nashville is probably my favorite city I've ever been to. Let me just
I
say,
wish I still lived there. Like, if I'm being completely honest, like
I loved
I
it.
didn't like I voluntarily left, but I didn't because it was the pandemic. But I loved it so much. I mean, everybody is so nice. Like when you're in LA, it's so competitive, and like nobody wants to like
Yeah.
help unless they are getting something out of it, and it just feels like everyone's on their own island, and it's not as collaborative. Obviously, there's collaboration. Like when I left LA is when Desert 5 Spot like came up, and they do like a bunch of like writers round and have like a country scene. Like I wish I still lived there during that time, but in Nashville, everybody that you like live in the building with and that you meet at the grocery store, sorry, I have a stuffy nose, everybody that you come in contact with like is an artist, and they'll be like, oh yeah, let's have a writing session, and you get writing sessions, and then you'll do writers rounds, and there's just so much endless entertainment and like cool bars, amazing food, nice people. Like I think that's where like a lot of opportunities are. And you know, it was
Yeah.
really hard to leave. I happened to be visiting my dad during the pandemic, like the weekend that it was announced. Like I was just coming because I was there in like I lived in Germantown when the tornado hit back in 2019, and
Forgot about
or
that.
sorry 2020, and so I came home to like just kind of catch my bearings because my building like lost power and electric and all that stuff, and we were like the only building in my area that didn't lose the roof and all the windows and everything, so I was very lucky. But I was alone in my 1-bedroom apartment when the tornado came. Sorry. And I had 3% battery on my phone, and like I went to bed and these huge like alarms went off, and I was like, what's going on? And then I went out in my living room, and like my screen door was like opening and shutting, and I was like, oh fuck. And I like ran to my bathroom because I remembered like reading or like watching a movie, and it was like, oh yeah, you always go to the bathroom like during a tornado, like you go in the bathtub.
Yeah.
So I went in the bathtub and I called my mom, and I was like, I have 3% battery and there's a tornado, and I probably like scared the shit out of her, but like all the lights started going out, and I was just like there by myself. And then I texted friends of mine that lived in the building, and I was like, yo, when this calms down, like, can you guys come over? I'm scared. And they came over, and we finished like probably like a fifth of whiskey and like a couple bottles of wine, and stayed up the entire night until it was over. And then when we were like, let's go see what the damage was, because we were okay, we didn't realize how detrimental it was. And then we like stepped outside, and we were like, oh my God. Like it looked like Armageddon. Like it looked insane.
What year was this? You said
Yeah,
2020?
2020. It was
Because
like
like
March.
tornado and
It was like a really
Germantown,
specific
PA?
part of like it
was
wasn't like
Germantown.
near here.
Germantown, PA.
I mean, it
Isn't
was
that-
near
that's,
here,
like
but,
closer
like-
to like Ambler, PA, by chance.
It's like up
No,
near.
in Nashville. This was Nashville.
Oh.
This was Nashville. Germantown.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. There was
I
a
was thinking
tornado.
Germantown.
There was
No,
a tornado
I
during
thought you
the
were talking about
pandemic
here.
here.
I thought you were talking about here too.
Yes, no,
That's
there
why I got
was.
confused, and I didn't know if like you moved, like this was after Nashville. I don't know. Sorry.
No, there was. So
Alright,
it
now
was
I'm
funny because
confused,
everybody
sorry.
started telling me like the tornadoes are following you, because it was like the first like serious tornado that ever happened in Delaware, like right after
Yeah,
I moved
okay.
back. But anyway, the tornado came in Nashville. It was
Okay.
destroyed. So, I mean, it was like one of the deadliest that had happened there, like at that time in history. And so like 2 weeks later or whatever, I went home, or however long after it was, to just catch my bearings and like visit my parents and get like my spring clothes, whatever. And while I was home, they announced like, okay, everything's shutting down for 2 weeks. And then it was like, okay, everything's shutting down for a month. Okay, now we don't know when things are opening back up, you know, and everyone's like masked up and everything. So I was home, and I was waitressing and working at like a clothing store at the time in Nashville, just like wondering when I'm going back to my apartment. And I like lost my job. And so I was just like, wait, I can't even afford to go back now at this point. Like because I was living in like, I was already struggling to pay my rent and like getting help from my parents. And like at that point, my dad was like, I'm done. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, you should just like move home and like figure something out. And I was like, I'm never giving up music, which I didn't. But yeah, I ended up, and then I started like dating my now husband. So that kind of solidified me not like moving back. But I go back and forth as much as I can and like record and write and play. Last winter, I did my debut at Whiskey Jam. I'm not sure if you know what Whiskey Jam is.
Okay. No, I'm not
But
sure.
you should look into it. It's like a kind of like a rite of passage in Nashville. Like it's a writers round, but it's more of like, I don't know if you know what a writers round in Nashville is, but like it's like 4 people or 5 people that like sit up on a stool and they all take turns like singing one of their songs and
Yeah.
kind of talking about it.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like that, but it's more it's more of a show. Like people aren't just sitting on the stool and talking in a quiet environment. It's like more high energy, like, you know, a concerty type thing. And you do all of your songs in a row instead of
Okay.
like taking turns and then going back to the beginning and then taking turns again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a lot to explain, but
No, yeah. I was there. I was in Nashville for the first time in like 2 years ago, like a little over 2 years ago, in like November 2022. Dude, I loved it. I had like an
It's so
absolute
fun.
blast. Like on Broadway, I have like a USA suit and like a USA cowboy hat, so I was like decked out in this USA suit, and I was like getting pictures with you. It was so funny. But I was like at Kid Rock's 2 nights, had a blast, and like it's just like the nightlife is like no, like I was at Kid Rock's like all day.
Kid Rock's was
all
one of my
night.
favorites actually.
That-
And the
that
12:30
was my
club that's
favorite.
like pretty new. I love that place.
Okay, yeah, Kid Rock's, and there's this guy James Dean. It wasn't. I think it was James
Jason
Dean.
Aldean.
It was James Dean, like
James
like
Dean.
the band who was playing. It
Oh.
was like James Dean and the Treatment or something. I follow him on
That
Instagram.
sounds kinda
He's
familiar.
absolute beast of a band. I mean, they were killing it.
Everyone there is
Yeah,
talented.
yeah.
It's crazy.
And then I was at like Ribby's. It's like at the top of Broadway, kind of right near the arena. I was there, and there was this guy. Bless
Sorry.
you.
Bless you.
There was this guy Nathan Wilson who was killing it in that bar. They're all like artists that are like very much like kind of like your vibe, like just on Instagram.
I'm
Bless
so
you.
sorry, everybody.
But no, yeah, Nashville was an absolute blast. Loved it, everything. Broadway's sick, and I like I was there for a hockey tournament.
Oh my God, you guys.
I was there for a hockey tournament because I used to play sports, just like you were talking
Did you
about.
go
like,
to the stadium? Like, did you see a Predators game when you were there?
No, I was just there for hockey, just to play.
Okay.
We played. A bunch of my games are at like the Predators like practice facility.
Oh, that's
whatever.
cool.
So I was like with a couple like my teammates, and we were just like renting scooters, like zipping around. And, like our parents just like were like go. So
Yeah.
had a blast.
Oh my God.
But yeah. You said Kid Rock's is your favorite. You have, like,
It was
any
one of
other
my favorite
spot?
Broadway bars. Like, so Broadway was very much like you had to, it's very touristy, like not in a bad way. It's
Yeah.
so fun. And like, I would love when people would come visit or whatever. We would go out on Broadway sometimes, or like if we wanted to really tie one on. But, I'm sorry. I sound disgusting. I'm going to go blow my nose for a second.
I don't even know where we were.
We
but
were
let's
talking
just,
about
like,
Nashville and how sick it is. And you were talking about, places we like, Kid Rock's. Robert's Western was one of my favorites, and probably like the Bourbon Blues bar, like which is in Painters Alley. It's not on Broadway, but it's off Broadway.
Okay.
Because I feel like they always had like the kind of like the classic like country vibe going on.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to go back and like get into everywhere, like all the places. Like, yeah, I know there's like Aldean. I think I was at Aldean's as well, but there's also like Luke Bryan's, like 32
Yeah,
Bridge
Miranda
or whatever.
Lambert has a spot there. Morgan
Okay.
Wallen just opened up. You
Yeah,
know,
I
they
saw
just got
that.
approved for his sign.
Is it something about a chair?
Yeah, because he threw a chair like off a roof, and so like
Did
I
they
guess
did
the
they tie that
board,
into
some
a
board
sign?
like wouldn't like approve his sign
really?
being put up, and then after he got charged like for what he did, then they approved it.
That's like, it's just like fun. Was that at Kid Rock's? I think it was. Like, it was like on the top
Probably.
of Kid Rock's on the roof. I don't know.
Probably it was
It's kinda
somewhere.
fun.
I don't remember which bar it was. I wasn't there, but it's actually, I mean, it's really scary. Like Morgan, I,
that,
love
like-
you, but like, what the heck were you thinking? Like, you could have killed someone.
I gotta
Imagine
go.
if he did. Like,
I don't know.
it would be.
The career ending.
He would be in jail.
Yeah. I gotta go to like more country concerts. Like, I went to Luke Bryan at over in Camden at the Pavilion. I had a blast. wore the USA suit again.
Yeah.
A lot of pictures.
Is that
It's
your
great.
like classic like
Yeah.
country?
Yeah, and then
get up?
everyone just like asks you for pictures, and I'm just like, this is great, this is great. And then so that was fun. Luke Bryan, and I went to like, do you consider Zach Bryan country? Folk? Is he his own
Yes,
genre?
I do consider him
Do you like him?
country. I do.
I just got asked to go. I've never been like, I didn't hop on the train. I didn't hop on the Zach Bryan train. And then finally, when I got asked to go to the concert, I was like, yeah, I'll go. Started listening to his music more, and it's like it's a vibe.
I do genuinely like him and his music. I think, obviously I don't know him at all, so I feel so funny when I like talk about celebrities or people like, yeah, but he's like a dick or whatever, but I'm like, I don't know him. So all I hear are like, he's kind of like a womanizer and like with his like girlfriends and stuff. So I don't really like love
There's a lot of
that.
drama with that, obviously. recently.
honestly,
Yeah, there's all that with like the Barstool chick.
To bring up, our friend,
Bree.
our mutual friend, Chris Rafter, like, I genuinely think that he is way cooler than Zach Bryan.
Yeah,
I think he's better.
Of course. I think he's fun. I think his voice is really
His
good.
But like
voice
very
is
similar
amazing.
style. right?
Yeah.
Would you say?
It's-
Yeah.
I think it's similar style, and I know
Really?
Chris would be, like, pissed that I'm saying this
I don't
right
think
now.
I don't think it's similar style because Zach Bryan.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean,
Chris
in the
is
raw,
Chris is
evolving.
more rock.
Chris is
Chris-
I would
evolving.
say-
Chris is more rock
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Okay.
Chris Rock.
I would just say, I would say in his like the rawness of both of their music, I feel like
Yeah.
is similar. That's what
It's
is
both like
similar.
very lyric heavy and very like they teeter the line of country and Americana, but Chris, maybe he used to sound a little bit more Zach Bryan, but I feel like he's just pivoted towards and like decided to be like he's going more rock.
Yeah.
At least
Yeah.
the songs that he's showed me that they're not released yet, obviously. I'm sure you've heard them, but
Yeah.
the production is like bigger and more kind of like rock, like
It's hard.
and
It's
not pop.
harder.
I would never call him pop, but it is more mainstream.
Yeah. 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 I can see that. Yeah. 100%. So for you, your first single, "Man Upstairs,"
That was the first single I
what was
put
the
out.
process of like releasing that? I saw you recorded it at Sound Room. Did you like studios?
Soundstage Studios in
Soundstage.
Nashville. So it's
I think there's multiple sound because maybe I'm getting confused because I know there's one at like Radio City. It's like
There is.
iconic.
yes.
Is that also Sound Room?
I haven't been there. I think
Okay.
it's called Sound Room, but the one in Nashville, it's called Soundstage Studios, and it's owned by Black River Entertainment. And I used to be in a trio in LA. It was called Sour Blossom, and it was with my ex and like this other guy, Josiah, who was part of Augustana. And we like had an investor who, gave us money to go record an entire like 20-track album, or was it 12, whatever, however many songs it was. We went and recorded at that studio, and "Man Upstairs" was one of those songs because it was like
Okay.
I was the lead singer, and then also my ex was the lead on some songs. So I took some of the songs that I did and released them, which "Man Upstairs" was probably written in like 2016,
Okay.
and it didn't get released until 2021 or 20
Yeah.
whatever,
Okay, wow.
because of the draw. Like I actually was approached to get like the instrumentals placed for like a commercial or something. Like my manager had the connection, whatever, and he asked me to get the stems for the song, which is, what the stems are. They're just like, so you can get each individual instrument and background music, whatever you need to do. And I didn't have that file. My ex had it because he was like produced a lot of our stuff and did like some engineering on some of it. So I asked him for it, and he like wouldn't send it, and he never sent me any of my files. So there's still some songs that like I wrote in that band that are like that I love and I still perform, but like I have to go get them like reproduced and everything now. So I felt like I love "Man Upstairs" so much because that was my song, baby. Like that was my concept, and I wrote it with the other guy, Josiah, and my ex wasn't even there for that. I don't know, he had some like appointment for his in-ears or something, and we wrote the song, and I loved it so much. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna put this out even though it's not from like my most favorite time of my life. And then I started just focusing on releasing songs that I wrote elsewhere after that. But yeah, Whiskey Kisses, "Man Upstairs," and Woodstock, that was all from like my old band. So I co-wrote those songs with
Okay.
them.
Yeah. Sweet. So yeah, what was you already walked through the process. So you put it out, and then was that kind of just like I mean, it was your first like single for you, right? Like under.
Right.
So was that kind of just like the start of kind of like, all right, now I'm under my own name, like promoting, marketing.
Yes.
Was that kind of like, was that
It was so exciting. Like I was so happy that I was just doing it on my own at that point. And I don't know how this happened. It was just maybe like freak luck because so many thousands of songs get submitted every day to be released, and that song actually debuted on New and Country and Best New Songs on Apple. And I was like, what? Like, you know, as like
Yeah.
an independent artist, I was like, holy crap, like it's happening again, like kind of like the Tiesto thing. I was like, it's happening, and like every time I put out a song, it's gonna like blow up more and more. And it didn't necessarily happen that way, but yeah, it was exciting. It did really well for an independent like debut release.
Yeah, that's great. What was I gonna say? Oh, Philly. So like you're back in Philly at this time, right?
Yeah.
And so like, what was kind of the like vibe of like the audience you were trying to capture like now that you're like back in Philly and kind of like the plan?
It was weird though because I still felt like I was like kind of thinking about my Nashville country kind of crew because it was the pandemic. So like it's not like I
Yeah,
was
okay.
on the scene here, you know,
Right,
like now
yeah.
I am. Like now I'm playing, you know, Milk Boy and whatever. And but back then I was still just coming out of Nashville and then just being at home.
Okay.
So I just like released it and I still felt like it was very like Nashville
Right.
focused.
So how did you find? I don't know if there's been like, I mean, changes between 2021 and now. So like, where did you find all the people from your current band that you're in now and meeting all those guys?
So, actually, my husband and I were like in Westchester, just having a day, and like my husband's name is David. David got like really into learning guitar during the pandemic, and he's like really good now, which pisses me off because like I still suck at it. But we went into this, what's the instrument shop there called again? Taylor's. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So we went into Taylor's, and this guy Chase, who is my acoustic guitar player.
Dude, that's where I recognize him from.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I saw him at Milk Boy and I was like, this dude looks so familiar.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, so I've definitely seen him in there. Okay, got it.
Yeah, so we like met him. He
Got
like helped
connected.
us get my husband impulsively buy an instrument, which he does from time to time. And I was like, yeah, I'm a musician. Like I used to live in LA and Nashville, and like I'm back in this area, and like I'm not really connected on the scene here, so I don't know like what to do, but I would love to like go start playing shows around here. And he was like, oh yeah, I'll play with you. And then I did Hello Sound Room. That's what you're talking about. That's it
That's-
was Chris and I did that show at Milk Boy. It was
Yeah.
Hello Sound Room
Yeah.
Presents.
Okay,
Okay,
right.
yeah. So I did one of those shows, and it's kind of like a So Far Sounds. Have
So,
you
like-
been to one?
I don't think so.
It's like a So Far Sounds. Like it's kind of like an undisclosed location and undisclosed artist, and then people like sign up to go.
Was it
and-
like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to think of here. Keep going.
Yeah. So I did a show with them once, and I needed a guitarist, so I reached out to Chase, and I actually ended up like I was opening for Fillmore. He did the show. Do you know who Fillmore is? He's like he just toured with Pitbull. He's a country artist, but he's like very also like kind of like pop and
I feel like I've heard of him. Who do you say he toured with?
Pitbull.
Yeah, I was.
But he's country.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, he's
I know Pitbull was just in Atlantic City like a couple nights ago.
I wonder
saw
if
a lot of
Fillmore was
friends there.
opening maybe. But yeah, I opened for him, and the way I met my other band members, I guess, is I'm actually also a realtor, which I don't like normally tell everybody, but I was tired of being like a broke waitress. I couldn't even like afford to get my songs produced. Like so I felt like even when I was in Nashville, like I was making all these great connections and great opportunities, whatever. But then it's like I had all these songs and I'm like, I can't even afford to like get this done properly unless, I were to be signed. But it's hard. Like nowadays they don't just sign you because you're talented. Like you have to have your ducks in a row and
Yeah.
like things prepared. So I wait, what was I just saying?
Realtor.
So
You get
so
your
when I
license?
moved back home during the pandemic, like, and everything was shut down, I was like, okay, this is a time to reevaluate my life. And I got my real estate license because I was just always curious and like interested in it. And I got really lucky and I made a lot of money in my first year. Oh, I need another tissue again. I'm sorry. And
You keep talking. I'll just get it.
so I was like, I made a lot of money my first year, and I was like, I'm putting this into my music. Like, that's the most important thing to me right now. Like, I don't want to feel like I'm just moving home and then becoming a realtor and like giving up my dream. So every time I would like get like a commission check, I would like reach out to like one of my friends or producers in Nashville. Excuse me, I'm gonna do this. Oh, off camera, quickly.
Kyle, how we doing over here, buddy?
Good.
How's it going? You having a great Tuesday?
I feel like you can still see.
It's
me
Monday.
back here.
Wait,
Nah, I think you're good.
yeah, it's Monday.
It is Monday.
Nice
This
one, boss.
this break is
I don't know what's happening to me. I'm sorry.
You're good.
It's like the allergies because it was like 8 degrees the other day, and now it's 60.
Oh, I
So
got
up
like a
and
couple
down.
like
It's
bloody
horrible.
noses because of like all the like,
Yes.
Yep.
stuff.
I was getting those too. Okay. Anyway, went from very broke to doing pretty well, finally being able to put like some money into my music and getting it produced properly. So I went down to Nashville, got some stuff done, and like was able to pay for music videos and like for nice photography and whatever else, and pay my band members, and so I did that. And there's a lender named Rob Grant that I do some business with, and he is in a band called the Camel Tones.
Yeah.
He's like he is like friends with he's like our parents' age, basically. He's a really cool guy. But
Our parents.
well, my parents, I guess.
Probably like
I don't know, we are significant. No, we're like
I don't know. Yeah,
whatevs.
probably, it's
We don't
same
need to talk
generation.
about it.
Same generation.
I'm close to your age, right?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
so yeah, anyway, he like took me to lunch one day to talk about like business stuff, but he knew I was a musician and he wanted to talk about that. So he was like, "Hey, my guys are always looking for other gigs to do. Like, I think you guys should get together and like play." And because he heard my music and was like, "You should be playing some live shows." I was like, "I've been dying to. Let's do it." So he introduced me to Gordon, who's my electric guitar player, and then Gordon kind of got like Jeremy, who's my drummer, and Andrew, like Burke, who is my bass player, and then Jordan, who's my keys guy, and we did a show at the Queen in Wilmington, and we were co-headlining with another band called the Sugar Hollows, and it's like my friend's brother's band, and they had a pedal steel player, and we kind of like poached him from them. He still plays with them, but they're like Virginia based, and he like lives up this way.
There you go.
So that's how we met Hayden, who's my pedal steel player. So we all kind of like we met through like mutual friends, I guess. I could have just said that, but
Industry
I went the long
friends.
way.
Okay.
I had to plug my realtor thing because I'm licensed in Pennsylvania and Delaware. If anybody needs help,
There you go. Do you work for like any like under? I don't know how to say it. Like
I'm an
independent?
individual agent,
Okay.
but my brokerage is Patterson Schwartz.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm not on like someone's team or anything like that.
Yeah. Because I know a couple kids that do real estate. I mean, there's one kid my age who works for Keller Williams who we had on,
We had a-
Matt
Yeah, I was gonna say we had a realtor on the pod.
Hutton.
Yeah, Matt
Hutton. Shout
Hutton.
out. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, yeah.
But go to Carly Simmons and not Matt Hunt.
All right,
for
all
your
right.
real
There you go.
estate
For now,
needs.
we'll plug. do you have like a full website? Like what's the
mean,
process? What's
for
your
real
what's your
estate?
everyday real estate life?
You've never
like?
heard
No,
of buy a
I
house
just
or
call
apartments
me.
and-
Just call me or
You
text
just
me.
like
and
send
I'll
a song to like take off a
Yeah.
couple.
I should be doing. People are like, why aren't you doing like music and like home tours like on your Instagram or whatever? It'd be like a singing realtor, and I'm like, because that is everything that I hate about
like
social
that's like the
media.
most
It's like the
gimmicky thing
cheesy,
ever.
gimmicky
Yeah.
stuff, and I'm just like. But I do like at shows, I will like pass out my card or something, if I feel like someone's looking, like if someone's giving
great.
off the vibe that they want to buy a house.
It's like just like mid show, like anyone.
So then every
anyone need
show.
to have.
That's good.
Yeah, some shows I will say it at the end, but like at Milk Boy, I'm not going to say that. Like I want people to look at me and be like, "Oh, she's a star," and not like,
Yeah.
"Oh, she is a realtor, like doing this like music thing on the side." Because like honestly, like my dream is to be a successful country musician, and like success to me doesn't mean I have to be like ultra famous or anything. I just want to be like recognized for my music. Like, I want to have like a number one. I want to be heard by the masses. And
Yeah.
I would give up real estate for that if I had to. But the thing is, real estate has actually helped me get to where I am right now.
Okay.
So I'm super
Yeah.
grateful because it's flexible. It's like self motivate. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I make my own schedule. So like when
Right.
I'm like, all right, it's time for me to go to Nashville for a week and go record and play a show, whatever, then I can go because I don't have a boss telling me
Yeah.
what to do.
Yep.
Oh. I was gonna wear my Carly Simmons T-shirt, but I didn't want to fanboy too hard on the body from Milkport. I was telling Kyle, I was like,
Is it
"Did I put
not the
this
most
t-shirt on?"
comfortable t-shirt?
It is. I'm not even gonna lie. Like it generally is. I'm not a.
You're just saying that, or
No, it is. It is. Come on, everyone. Do you
Everybody
have a merch
texts me
website?
after and they're like, I sleep in this shirt. It's the most comfortable thing I own.
Yeah. Do you like to sell merch at shows?
Oh, yes. I actually, it's everyone keeps giving me like crap because I have like a website finally now. Shout out to my friend Molly who has helped me with it. But like I still am figuring out how to like connect my like Shopify and do all those things. And
Yeah.
like I don't have it connected yet. But at my shows, like usually sell out of whatever I bring,
great.
however amount that I bring to the table. It's nice. I got like the hats, the shirts, the koozies. And I should, 2025, I plan to put out more singles, but I don't have any dates yet for them yet. I have music ready, but I think I'm gonna Chris and I were actually talking. We were having a meeting in the minds about merch. Like we take it very seriously, and we want it to be cool and not lame.
Yeah.
So I was talking about like I have a single called "Join the Club," which I might put out soon, and I'm thinking like, oh, I gotta make these like not Letterman jackets, but those like bowling jackets. They're like shiny and they have like the names and like the team logos on the back.
yeah.
Like I need to have one that says like "Join the Club" and then it's like a cowgirl hat or something, and then like Carly Simmons music or something on the. I don't know. I'm just telling
Brainstorm.
everybody my ideas. If anyone's out there and wants to help me with it,
That's
hit me up.
great. So your most recent song that you released, Steamroller, where did that come from?
Came
Where did
from, to be quite honest, it came from having a habit of dating narcissistic men. Thank God, I'm married to a lovely gentleman now. But yeah, I it's about my ex.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
One of my exes in particular.
Okay. No, it was funny. You mentioned your husband. Like Chris was like this. He was like talking to me. It was like he's like, this dude is the best guy ever. I went over to her house and like this guy like made me dinner.
Yeah.
It was like so funny.
He is so accommodating and sweet. He's like the hostess with the mostest. Like I feel bad because like I'm such a good like homemaker. Like I make everything cute and cozy, whatever. But like my husband is the chef. Like he makes dinner 9 out of 10 times. Like he makes dinner. And Chris Rafter came over for a writing session. Like I said, him and I are both very ADD and like just like kind of like spastic people, like yappers. And so we yapped a lot. We got like a fraction of a song done. And then by the time, he was there like all day. And then my husband came home from work and he's just like, just immediately went to the kitchen and Chris and I are like still working on the song, whatever. And then all of a sudden he comes out with what's it called again? Oh my God. Like chicken schnitzel, but it's like, what's it called? Chicken Milanese, where it's breaded and like flattened and all.
Okay.
Yeah, Milanese, right? Yeah.
I guess.
I don't know if
Do you know
I-
your Italian cuisine? Anyway,
I mean,
it was like this decadent dinner. And then like Chris was like, what? Like we sat down, like had wine and like whatever and everything. And he was like, I'm coming over here every week to write with you.
Yep. That's great. All right. So as we wrap it up, what's the future look like? What are the goals for music, the industry, everything, gigs, Philly, all of that good stuff? Where's your
Like,
mind at?
My mind, I'm feeling positive. I'm feeling good. Like, the goal is to obviously put out more music. I have a bunch of it ready. I can't wait to share it. I just want to like make sure I do it right and have the right team around me that are really going to help me like market this music the best way possible and like play bigger shows. Like I'd love to like open up for a bigger artist or like get on a tour. Like Chris and I were talking about doing a tour together and like co-headlining, around the East Coast and just
Dope.
trying to like build off of each other's, fan base. And, we're like different, but I feel like we're just different enough to make the show entertaining and like have variety, but also similar enough that like it makes sense for us to be playing together. So yeah, the goal is to just keep doing my thing and making what I consider to be good music. I hope other people consider it to be good. And just yeah, I want to get my song on mainstream radio. Like let's get a song on the radio.
All right.
Let's get some ink signed this year with like a sick ass label.
You heard it
There you
here.
go.
All right. I think it's a great place to wrap it up.
I feel like you gotta do what we've been doing recently.
Oh.
Do you have any
Yeah.
advice for us, just in general?
Advice
We've been
for
asking
you
our
guys?
guests
Life advice, or even just
industry advice.
industry advice. Yeah.
Stay true to yourself. Be authentic. I have always kind of tried to follow my heart and be like as true to myself as possible. When someone is like pushing you to do something and you just get this gut feeling that it isn't like your style or your path, listen to that. You know, like do what makes you happy and follow that feeling.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
Great. Thank you.
of course.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for
coming.
having me. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome.
I'm sure.
Sorry my nose was so stuffy this whole time. Everyone
Totally
out
good.
there.
We can-
First
we
ever
can-
break in the pod.
we
I
can
hope
do
I
like
don't have COVID.
we can do like a counter like
What's that?
nose.
Yeah.
No, joke.
Next week you'll be like, sorry, we had COVID and we had to cancel the show.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, what is it?
Have a
It's
great
not
new
real.
year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, happy 2025. Honestly, it's crazy. This is like one of those years where it's like when we were in kindergarten, it's like so like we for our school login password, it's like 25 and then our last name for like our graduation year, and now it's
Yeah.
like it's like
For like
That's
when
right,
we were
you're
in
graduating.
yeah
password.
when we were in kindergarten, it's like wow,
That
like,
seems literally forever.
that seems forever away.
And
Now
that's
it's like
what,
it's 2025. It's crazy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's weird being the
That's
year that
crazy.
you've been anticipating to graduate. Like even for me, like sports, like I don't think you did it for hockey, but lacrosse would be like you're 2025, whatever team you play for. So it's actually
Yeah.
insane.
Yep.
But
Yeah, we'll see what the year holds.
yeah,
All right, sorry. Thanks again. We're extending this. I'm sure I'll see you around with like
Absolutely.
whatever.
We're going to hang.
Yeah,
We're
let's
going to
do
hang.
it. All right, Motive Podcast. Guys, have a great new year. Kyle Cohn, Leo Kosach, Carly Simmons. Go follow her on all
Yeah,
platforms.
Carly Simmons Music on Instagram and YouTube, I guess. What else?
All right.
TikTok, Carly Simmons Music. Spotify, Carly Simmons.
There you
Find
go.
me. Stream my music, please.
Peace. Motive Podcast out.